Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I am Arlen Visser. I am one of the senior health specialists here at Art Jetter and Company. We are excited to present Ken French with Snoozy. Before we get started, we will have everyone muted, and at any time you need to type in your questions on the right, we will address them at the end. I'd like to introduce Ken French with Snoozy to talk about reviewing the new virtual assistant website application will allow you to offer customer service 24/7 to your clients. The application integrates with your website. It can literally talk to your visitors and get them to the correct place quickly, such as a calendar, your SOA form, or your online shopping portals. Go ahead, Ken. Take it away.
Hey, thanks. Thanks. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. I appreciate you coming on. As always, I try to keep these webinars pretty quick and to the point. At the end of the webinar, I'll share my contact info. If anyone has any real questions specifically about their situation, I'm always more than happy to chat and kind of strategize a little bit. But let me just kind of introduce myself. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the president and founder of Snoozy Incorporated. Before I started Snoozy, I used to have a family-owned business that was very much like Art Jetter and Company. We work specifically with independent agents, help them with Medicare, employee benefits, life, health insurance. My grandfather started that business in the 70s. My dad ran it in the 90s. I was there in the late 90s and 2000s. Super duper long story short, healthcare reform came. My dad decided to sell the business. He retired. When he did that, myself and Kerry, who were working at the company, we started Snoozy in 2009. And basically what we do is we work specifically with independent insurance agents, and we help them with their websites and we help them with social media. And we only work in this insurance industry. We're very versed on CMS compliance. And, I tell people the same thing my grandfather told me. The key to success in this business is retention, referrals, and cross-selling. And, what I want to do today is I want to show you a new tool that we've developed based on feedback from my current clients. And, we'll go through that in a minute. I also want to talk a little bit about what worked during AEP for a lot of my website clients. I think it's relevant to understand the stories they had and why we developed this virtual assistant tool, because I think it all goes hand in hand. I mean, at the end of the day, the thing I always stress is yes, you have to have a website, but you've got to have a game plan with it. You can't just sit there and hope people find it. We're at a point now in 2025 where there's like 200,000 people, independent agents selling Medicare and life insurance. And, if you just have a website, yes, that's good, but you can't expect it to just suck people in. So one of the things I try to work on with my clients is to have a plan and to use it for customer service, to generate referrals, to generate cross-selling. But I think where it starts is I always say you have to have the 4 keys to success in place. One, your website, it can't just be a billboard anymore. It can't have a picture of you and say, "Hi, my name is Melissa and I sell Medicare. Here's my phone number." It's got to be branded. It's got to tell people who you are, what your process is. Do you do in-person appointments? Do you do, Zoom calls? You really should have testimonials on there that show you've gotten people to the finish line. Two, you really need to have that active social media presence. Again, I can't stress enough that I believe good retention equals, a lot of referrals. And to me, that's the point of social media today. You should have a Facebook business page, a LinkedIn page. You shouldn't be going on there begging for business, asking people to request a quote. You should be on there posting good educational content about the products you offer to show that you're an expert, to show that you're a guru. And people pick up on that. When they Google you, they're very likely going to find that Facebook page. And if they go in there and see that you haven't posted in 6 months, yeah, it doesn't look good. It looks like you're a part-timer. So to me, that's important. That's the second important thing. 3, you really should have what they call a Google business listing today. And you should try to get as many of your clients as possible to leave reviews. You can go to google.com/business, create that listing right now. It's free, but that's becoming an important part. And then number 4, which, I think the guys at Art Jetter do a good job. there's a lot of good technology now out there in this industry, whether it's having an online scheduling tool, whether it's using your CRM, whether it's using the Medicare Center or some sort of shopping pearl that ArtJetter gives you. Those things are vital. And I find that a lot of agents, they don't know what to do with these things and they don't utilize them. In my opinion, all those things need to be built into your website and easy to find. And that'll, I'll show you in the virtual assistant tool, kind of how that's being worked on. So I want to talk about kind of three things that I saw work really well for my clients. And like I said, it includes the tool, and I think it just gives you a little context of where I'm trying to go for with some of this stuff. But like I said, this is the 16th year we've been doing this. And one of the things I try to do with all of my Medicare clients is around May 1st to about July 1st, I try to schedule a call with them to really talk through, okay, what's the plan for AEP this fall? And obviously this year, and anyone who went through AEP, I'm sure it was a tough one, right? It took a lot of energy out of you. Obviously with the changes with the drug cards and all that stuff, with a lot of carriers leaving the market, yeah, there was a lot of problems that could have been out there. So one of the things I really worked on this spring and early summer was, what are we going to do to get in front of our book of business and make sure they don't panic and go to another agent? So the first thing I tried to talk about was really having what I call a landing page. And in short, the goal was for the agent to send an email or send a text, whether through their CRM or through traditional communication, basically sending this to their clients in June or July and August saying, look, AEP is going to be different this year. There's a lot of changes going on. You might need to make a plan change. And I'm here to evaluate your situation and help you either stay in the right plan or find a new plan. So what I did for a lot of my clients was build that page that maybe had a little video about the Reduction Act and what changed, that had a form where the consumer could fill in any new drugs or doctors they were seeing or taking in 2024, and obviously their calendar where they could schedule a pre-AEP kind of consultation. And for my clients who sent that stuff out during the summer, they had a great AEP. They got tons of referrals. They did fantastic. For some of the agents I talked to this month who kind of didn't really do much in AEP, a lot of them had a tough go. They lost a lot of their book of business. So to me, I think that's a big theme for having these websites these days. How do you use it? How do you use it to help you? And I always tell people, like, I can't really help you unless you communicate to me what you're trying to do with your business. And a lot of times I can build something into the website that helps you do it better. And having that landing page that could be texted or emailed out to people, that seemed to work really well for a lot of my clients. So the second thing that worked well was incorporating our new virtual assistant tool. And I only set this up for about 10 agents as a trial. But let me kind of give you a quick story on how I created this tool. And, if any of you want to see it in action, you can certainly go to snoozy.com, click on samples, and go into our sample websites. You'll see it on there working. But long story short, I had a call with a lady, we'll call her Karen, back in January of 2024. And she called me up and she said, look, Ken, she had been my client for about a year. She said, look, I think this could be, this could be my last go of being in this business. I think I'm going to sell my book. And I said, well, what's wrong? And she said, look, I had a really tough AEP. She's like, basically, in short, said, everyone is just really hard. The consumers are hard to deal with. They're just stressing me out. Everybody is just crazy, not very respectful, and I can't do it anymore. So after talking to her a little bit more, basically what her biggest problem was is she had about 300 clients, and she found that a lot of people were calling her late in the day, like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, leaving voicemails, and then she would get back to them the next day, and they would be very upset with her that she didn't get back to them the same day, and that to them that was unprofessional. And she said, I don't have an answer for this. I don't have enough money to hire somebody to help me. There's not enough revenue coming in. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. So it got me thinking, and my thought was, well, how can I buy Karen more time? What can I develop on her website to buy her more time? And that's really what this virtual assistant tool is. So I went to her and I said, well, look, let's try this. I'm going to develop this tool that we're going to put on your website. And what you're going to do is you're going to change your voicemail. And your voicemail is now going to say, hey, this is Karen Smith. It's currently AAP. It's a little crazy. You can leave your voicemail, and I will do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. Or you can go to KarenSmithMedicare.com and you can schedule a meeting with me later today or tomorrow. You can, submit your drugs and doctor info if I've requested that, or you can fill out a customer service ticket, which will help me get back to you quicker. That was her voicemail. I put the new tool on her website, and when someone goes to the site, it immediately pops up. It immediately starts talking to them, and it immediately gets them into the correct spot in the application, which makes it, obviously easier for them to feel like they're getting customer service. I put that on her site in August. She was my first trial. I put it on 9 other agents through AAP. And the feedback I got from those 10 people was outstanding. That all of that nastiness from the consumer went away. And in my opinion, it's a basic business practice. People are going to be grouchy with you if they feel like you're ignoring them or they don't believe you're going to, contact them back. People are totally fine if you can create a system or structure that kind of shows them, hey, I'm organized, I have a system, you're now in the system, and you will be taken care of. And I think that's exactly what changing her voicemail did. It created structure that, hey, you can leave a voicemail, I'm going to try to get back to you, or I'm giving you other options. Now, 24/7, you can go on my site, schedule a meeting, fill out a ticket. And for the most part, people did that. Even older people who, you would think aren't super tech savvy. Here's another example of one I set up for Bonnie. Hers actually reads that the people are coming from the voicemail. It tells them, hey, I'm on the phone, and obviously gets them into some other tools. But I guess the theme was, is this really, even though it's a simple idea, it bought these agents time. And I think if you're an independent agent who's trying to do this, and all of a sudden you get to that 2, 3, 4, 500 client mark, you're at the end of the day, and I don't mean to jump around, but I believe that the personal hand-holding customer service is the way to go. But there does come a point when your book gets big enough that you physically can't do that all the time because you're just on the phone with somebody else. So it comes down to having some business structure to help these people and buy yourself time. And that's exactly what this application does. So like I said, if anyone's, and I'll show you in a second here, but if you go to jetter.snoozy.net and you click on samples, and then you go into website samples, click on the Medicare sample, you'll see it in action. And it's a very simple tool. If anyone is on today's call who's a current client, there is no extra cost to add something like this to your site. Just got to shoot me an email and we'll discuss what you want on it and I'll develop it for you. Again, my main theme is trying to figure out what is the game plan with these websites and what can we develop to buy you time, to help you, increase retention and generate referrals. And I think using these tools, they make a big difference. The third thing that worked really well during AAP was doing Facebook ads. And I could sit here and talk to you about this for 4 or 5 hours, and it would still be confusing. I'm going to give you the 5-minute tip that really worked best for everyone. And it's something that most agents don't think about. So for those of you that know anything about Facebook ads, you basically go into Facebook, you set up a graphic, you set up some words. Maybe it's something simple like, hey, are you turning 65 soon? Do you need somebody local who can help you? Click here for a free consultation. And you have an image that shows a couple, confused about Medicare. You can go in there and you can pay Facebook money to have that advertisement go out to a certain target market. You can pay as much as you want. The more you pay, the more people see the ad. Well, where most agents go wrong is when they set up their target market, they get very, very broad. Like maybe they set it to go to the whole state of Nebraska. What I found worked best for people was figuring out, how do I set up this ad to not go to 100,000 people once, but how do I get it to go to 10,000 people 10 times? And that to me was the key strategy that worked for them. So when they were setting up the ad, rather than having it go to the whole state of Nebraska, everybody 64 to 74, they would set up the ad to go to maybe one zip code and have it go to just the 64-year-olds who are maybe just female, really drilling it down. And what that did is it allowed, and one thing I didn't mention, they had the ad run for a few months rather than a few weeks. And what that did is it created a small amount of people seeing the ad many, many times, maybe once a week for 10 weeks. They got results. So like I said, I could talk to you about Facebook ads for 2-3 hours and it would still be confusing. The one thing I want to get across to anyone on today's call, if you're going to try to do some ads in 2025, think about that concept. Do I want this ad to go to a lot of people once, or do I want this ad to go to people many times? And the way you get it to go to the same people many times is to make a very niche-oriented target market. Use a zip code, use a specific age, and that will create, and obviously have the ad run for a while. Anyway, so hopefully that tip kind of gave you some insight. Real quick, I just want to discuss what we do for those of you that don't know much about Snoozy. For about the last 5 years, I have had a special alliance with Art Jetter. So anyone who is an active producer does get special pricing on my services. Like I said, you can go check out our website, jetter.snoozy.net, and kind of see that pricing. But, basically what we do is we do 3 things. We build websites, custom websites. We can help you with social media if you need someone to post daily content. And we supply social media coaching and consulting. Just like I was talking about the Facebook ads, we can set up a 30-minute call and talk about your ad, and maybe I can give you some tips. But basically, the whole theme is that we want to make sure there's some sort of game plan with how this site is going to help you grow your business. I like to usually break it down into branding, cross-selling, and customer service. Those are usually the 3 things I want to build into your site so that it helps you and you can use it. And basically what my process is step 1, I would want to set up a 15-minute call with you and really just talk through your product focus, your selling style, where your web presence is, and I'll give you all the ideas I have, and we'll see if there's any synergy to work together. And anyone can do that by just going to calendly.snoozy.com, to calendly.snoozy. You can set up a call with me if you want. If we have synergy, and I think I can help you, and you like what you see, then we would need to set up like a 30-minute interview. And during that call, we can discuss how the website is going to be built. I don't charge a setup fee. Our pricing is $69.99 a month for our website services. It includes building the site. Moving forward, if you need changes to the site, that's included. Obviously, we host the site. We make sure it's a secure site. My main rule is CMS compliance. I'm a stickler for that, so I'm going to help you make sure nothing on there isn't compliant. If you get fined, I get fined. But like I said, I want to make sure the site is functional. The second thing we do is we offer social media posting services where if you're an agent who says, I know it's important that I'm posting content on Facebook and LinkedIn. Gosh, I just don't have time Monday through Friday to find and post content. Well, that's what we can help you with. We can actually write the content for you. If it's Medicare geared, it'll be compliant. Certainly we can post life, annuities, health insurance, P&C content, whatever your focus is. But basically you're waving the white flag saying, I know it's important to have these pages looking active, but I don't have the time every day to do it myself. So we'll step in and we'll post educational articles, updates, tips, deadline reminders, just stuff that if people are going to your page, they can see that you're the expert and that you're active and that you're not doing this part-time and that you're going to be there to help them. The social media service by itself is $85 per month. But basically, we do two things. Like I said, we have our website services, which are if you're an independent agent or a mom and pop shop, $69.99 a month. We do offer an agency package for much larger operations that are recruiting agents or have a downline they're trying to promote. But we also have a bundle package, which is $150 a month for the website and social media services. And like I said, if you are interested, go to jetter.snoozy.net later. Look around. I have samples on there. I have more information. You can certainly click that you're interested and set up a call with us. But yeah, what I'm going to do is send everyone. I'll try to get some more information out to you guys via email after the call. I'm going to see if any questions have come in, so I'll answer those. But let me kind of just address some of the common questions I've gotten over the last few months with some of these things we offer. The first question is always about the AI tool, the virtual assistant tool. And, long story short, it really is totally customizable. We can have it say whatever you want it to say. We can have it pop up wherever you want it to pop up. And most importantly, we can put whatever you want to focus on there. Like I have one client, all she does is local workshops and events. And her AI tool, it just pushes people in there to register. I think the main theory is that you're directing people to the site, and the AI tool is geared towards kind of that 65 to 75-year-old consumer who isn't super tech savvy, and it kind of assists them in getting into the right spot very quickly. That way they're not calling you and bothering you, needing help. The tool gets them into where we need to get them. So one of the first things I need to talk to you about is like, well, what are we trying to get them to do? Are we trying to get them to register for the event? Are we trying to get them to sign a scope form? Are we trying to get them on your calendar? All that stuff can easily be built into it. The other most common question I get is, I currently have a website, really never has helped me. If I start working with you, can I keep my web address the same, my email address the same? 100%. Yeah, we would develop a new site for you, but we would go into that web address, unplug your old site, plug in the new one, and then be able to help you and get these tools in place. But that's pretty standard. The other question I often get is about social media. Everyone in today's world, the best case scenario is that you're using social media for retention, right? Like you should have a Facebook business page, a LinkedIn page. You should try to get as many of your clients as possible to follow you on that. And then you should be posting there and updating them on changes and deadline reminders and just stuff going on in the industry, because that keeps you in front of them and keeps these other agents away from them. That's the best case scenario. Again, I get a lot of people who say my intentions are to do that, but I don't have enough time. So that's kind of where our services come in. I always say, think of me as the daily drudgery, where we're going to find the content and post the content. But usually the question I get is, well, can I still help out myself? Can I still post maybe once a week and you post? Absolutely. Yeah, we're there to keep it moving, but you should still keep your eye on this and be managing it. To me, that's the best of both worlds. So that being said, I'll bring Arlen back in. I don't know if any questions have come in, Arlen. I don't know if I can see those. We'll go.
Yeah, Ken, I don't see, this is Arlen. I don't see any questions, but I know with this Inflation Reduction Act, brings in a lot of CMS. Anytime you mention Medicare Advantage or prescription, there's a lot of regulations on, and I've seen some internet ideas from agents that talk about how compliance is always a big issue when you talk about it. And you're up on any of that information, so I think that takes that relief off the agent and puts it on
100%.
You know what I mean? And I think that's awesome, because there's a lot of compliance issues.
You would be surprised how many phone calls I get where the agent presents an idea to me and compliance is not even on their radar, right? So the other day, just to give I won't ramble on, but just to give you an example, I had a client the other day call up and say, look, I really want to put this chart on my website. it reviews some of the Part D pricing changes that are out there, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, look, you can't do that. I said, you cannot put specific pricing about anything Medicare related. And she says, well, wait a minute. It's on Medicare.gov. Why can they do it? And I said, well, yeah, they can do it, but you're not Medicare.gov. So I said, here's the easy fix. Instead of putting this table on your website and representing it as your own, we can put a button that takes them back to that table on Medicare.gov. And I said, that's how we make it compliant. And she said, well, that's all I need. I just want people to be able to see it. And I said, okay, that's no problem. But, she would have gotten in trouble. And you would be shocked how many people, they're not thinking like that. But, when you go get recertified every spring and summer, the carriers are now auditing your websites. And if you do something like that, they're going to get you. And it's going to be a problem. And it's just unnecessary because, the rules are complex, but they're not that complex. So anyway, as I said before, my one rule with working with me is compliance. If you get fined, I get fined. And no one pays me enough to get fined. So I speak up. I try to help.
What's really nice too is materials to share. You have a lot of good materials to share with the public. And if an agent would want to add to it or make changes to it, you would implement that. That's very key.
Yeah, we'll take a look at their ideas. But yeah, I think that is always the path forward, is to take the basics and then customize them to your comfort level and style. And because everyone runs their business different.
Yeah, I've noticed that you work with not just Medicare, you work with the life and health agents that want to specialize in every life and health product out there, not so much Medicare, and that's our specialty here in the senior health, but you have dental, you have life insurance, long-term care. I've even seen some property and casualty, all one website for all of this. So it's
I think at the end of the day, it's about cross-selling. And whether you want to focus on Medicare and cross-sell hospital indemnity insurance, or whether you're a full-service agency that does Medicare, health, life, auto, and home, my point is your website really needs to tell the consumer your full story, because if you don't, you're losing out on potential sales. And I think you're right. If you come to me, I'm going to interview you and I'm going to build a site around all your services. To me, that's what makes sense. And anyway.
Yeah, that's the main thing, is having an idea what you want for a website, because that's the new brick and mortar, new way people are going to check you out to see what you're about, and educational, enrollment forms, whatever the case is. Yeah.
The biggest problem in the Medicare industry, and I forget who told me this, it was a while back, but the average person turning 65 will talk to 6 agents before they enroll. So usually what I tell people is I go, just put that into your marketing thoughts. I'm going to be the 6th person who talks to this consumer. How do I present myself different than the first 5? And probably those first 5 were either captive, or they were rookies, or they didn't know what they were doing. And the people, the consumer had a bad experience, and it didn't go well. So to me, I always say, you got to envision that. And what can you do to prove you're better? Well, it helps to have the website. It helps to have the testimonials. It helps to have the Google reviews. It helps to have that active social media presence, because now there's basis there that you are a living, breathing operation, that you didn't start yesterday. Someone goes to your social media page, they can see for the last 8 months, all you do is talk Medicare or whatever. So all these things add up over time. Yes, there's certain people, they might not be interested in that, but as the years go by, more and more consumers, this kind of stuff is important to them. And it adds up. That's the best way to look at it.
Yeah. Yep. That's right. But I think that's everything we have going on. If anybody would want to get a recording of this or have more information about us, let me just or about Ken French's services, give us a call here at 800-228-0008 and ask for a senior health specialist. Thanks. I appreciate you discussing this. And
okay. Thanks, Arlen. Thanks, everyone. Like I said, I'm always available to chat if anyone wants to talk. Have a great afternoon. Stay warm. Thanks, everyone.
All right. You too.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. All right. Bye.